So I just got out of the Boogeyman, just came from the theater, and man, we gotta talk about it. Let's get into it. What's up, I Like Scary? We are back. I hope you all having an awesome day. I'm having an awesome day. It feels great to be a horror fan. So you guys, I literally just got back home from watching the Boogeyman film that is inspired by a Stephen King short story. And let me tell you, man, this movie, before we get started, definitely smash the like button because it definitely helps. So let me tell you guys how we're going to do it. So we're going to be doing spoiler free right now. We're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of this, and then I will let you guys know once we get into spoiler territory. So I'm going to do the spoiler-free right now, and later in the video I'm going to do spoilers. So starting off, you guys, look, this film is look, it's surrounding around two sisters. So we have the older sister Sadie, who is played by Sophia Thatcher, and then we have her younger sister Sawyer, that is played by Vivian Lyra Blair. Now let me tell you something, man. These two together, it is, the story behind it is so crazy. So they actually lose their mom and everything. An accident. They lose their mom, and their dad is not basically showing them, a lot of fatherly love and everything. Their dad Harper is not showing them a lot of fatherly love. He's actually a therapist. He's trying to be a therapist, while dealing with his own shit. And you know how it goes. Basically, the kids are kind of grieving and everything. They're grieving, trying to just vent because they just lost their parents and everything. Now, this film, to kind of get into it, it's very suspenseful. A lot of the scares, man, you're not expecting it. Like, I'm telling you, like, I did not expect this movie to be how it is. The opening for this movie, you're going to be like, what the fuck? You're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, this is definitely going to be one of those underrated films. With this being PG-13, this is going to be one of those films that is definitely a PG-13 film, but you can kind of see past the PG-13 because it's that good of a film. Man, a lot of the plot and everything kind of was very fluid. Now, this film, in my opinion, definitely has like a slow burn, but it's solid in my opinion. It's very solid. I feel like you get invested with the characters immediately in their story and everything. A lot of the story kind of made you feel for the characters, if that makes sense. Feel for the characters, and yeah, I feel like a lot of these scenes of the angles they capture of the Boogeyman is fucking insane. It was times my theaters were jumping, the people in the theaters were jumping out of their damn seats, including myself. Like, this whole movie, I feel like I was on the edge of my seat looking. Like, I feel like, okay, we did have like down moments where you kind of just doing character development and going back and forth, talking and everything, kind of building up the situation, but you kind of did not know what basically what's going on. You didn't know what was going on, what would happen possibly. This thing, the Boogeyman, you have to stay. I love the way they have this one set rule really that you gotta follow, or things will happen, which being that you gotta be in the light, because in the dark this thing comes out, and it kind of makes scenes a lot more tense, especially like at night. And Some people cut the lights off in their house. You guys can kind of figure that out. But this film has a lot of tense moments, very suspenseful. Definitely some cliche things, but they do a great job at what they do. And you're gonna love the little sister. You're gonna love Sadie too, man. They did a great job as sisters. They definitely made a lot of things believable. And yeah, you guys, I feel like the pacing, it kind of has you invested. You want to see what happens next. You want to see what happens next. You want to see what's going on. And man, I really do feel like the scares are designed, like they're not over the top, but man, you're going to be scared. Now, I've seen movies that are scarier than this, but this is definitely, you know, scary. And you know, with the title being super generic, it's being called The Boogeyman. We see the trailer, and the trailers actually will pull me in. You know, Stephen King connected to it. But yes, a lot of the angles they catch of this thing, and it kind of gives you, like, in my opinion, like a lights out feel. If you guys ever seen Come Play, and it also is weird. It gives you like a Stranger Things feel. It gives you like some type of a little bit of Stranger Things. It's a lot of things mixed with this, but it's definitely in that category with lights out and Come Play, surrounding this family and everything. But yeah, you guys, I definitely think that you should check it out. It's a great film, in my opinion. Now, you guys, if you haven't seen this film yet, you should probably head out because it's about to be spoilers. And I'm so ready to talk spoilers. So, yeah, you guys, you should definitely be heading out right now because I'm about to talk spoilers. So, spoiler. Now, this film, it surrounds Sadie and her little sister Sawyer. They lose their mom and everything. And once again, her dad is lacking, you know, his fathership and stuff like that. And man, let me tell you, some of these scenes are fucking intense. Do you hear me? The Boogeyman was fucking Sawyer up. The little sister. It's a scene that you guys see in the trailer where she has this like light ball, like it's a moon that helps her. You know, she sleeps with the lights on, and it's a crazy shot where she hears something and the ball is on the floor. She goes upside down. Then she looks up and the fucking Boogeyman is right there. Like, boom. And the way that the Boogeyman approaches her in that scene, she's looking at the door because he comes out the closet, out the darkness. And, bro, basically he runs out of nowhere and go under the bench. She's searching for him. It was so fucking intense. And we got this guy named Lester. So the first opening scene, a kid gets killed, and that's his daughter. And you remember that Harper, Sadie and Sawyer's father's a therapist dealing with his own shit. He's a therapist. The guy comes off the street to talk to him, Lester, and he's being creepy, he's being weird, and he's asking Harper about his two daughters, Sawyer and Sadie, and he's saying, like, basically, like, I had a family, you know, and everything, and he's, you know, kind of explaining to him the Boogeyman thing, and Harper's kind of looking like, okay, this guy's weird. So Lester actually brings the Boogeyman to him, like it's latched onto him. And from my understanding, the Boogeyman actually, this creature of some sort, kind of reminds me of a Demogorgon. It feeds off of, like, I want to say, like, some sort of like fear, and when people like just grieving and going through things, that's what it feeds off of, kind of. But make a long story short, it's almost like he sacrificed himself. Harper kind of gets up and says, hold up, man, I'm about to go step out real quick. Whole time he's calling the police because he sees that this guy's not well. He comes back and Lester's dead. And from the moment Lester dies, we got these vein-like things growing over their house, like it's cursed and it's a part. Like, it's like the Boogeyman is now latched to their family. You know, it's like going from family to family, which is very fucking creepy. He dies, and the moment Lester dies, Sadie is like alerted. She's doing like research. She's like, what the hell? And Sawyer's going around just crying. A little girl, you know, basically who just cried wolf. And she's like, man, you know, I'm seeing this dark thing. You guys are not believing me, going left and right. Like, hey, do you believe me? Do you believe me? She's telling him her dad. And he's like, you know, that average dad, somebody give you $5. There's nothing in his closet. Make a long story short, you know, Sawyer ends up being the one telling, like, hey, bro, there's some shit going on. And then you guys can put two and two together. Sadie starts to see the stuff. She starts to see it. And Sadie's having a hard time in school. She lost her mother. Her friends are not being friends. Besides one, I forget her name. But she's like her best friend. She's hanging with another group. And, you know, Sadie's like rocking out by herself. You know how it goes in these films. But, yeah, she's kind of handling everything. And we get this crazy scene where basically she's in the house. She's in the house with Sawyer. They're like separate though, but Sawyer's walking through the house with this ball, this moon-like ball. and she's hearing things, and she actually heard Sadie say something out the darkness. She's like, "Hey, are you there?" Whole time it's not even Sadie, it's the boogeyman. So this thing is like morphing voices and shit. And she's in this hallway, and she rolls this moon ball down the hall. So you know how the scene goes. It's like kind of gathering the darkness around it, and it goes like to this corner, and she hears her moon ball break, and you hear this thing just like breathing. Like, it was so fucking crazy. Like, a lot of these scenes, man, it takes a lot to scare me for real, but damn, man, these scenes had me jumping. Monica was jumping. Like, she was like this, bro. It was a lot of scenes that were fucking intense, bro. But, so we kind of push forward, and Sadie, her best friend actually takes her to the house where it all originated, the boogeyman thing, Lester's house to be exact. And, you know, his, I want to say his wife, her name was Rita. She goes into the house where everything happens, like abandoned. Oh, groceries on it. Like, no one's touched it. It's just filthy. Everything's left there. Oh, furniture. And Rita's, like, telling Sadie, like, hey, she's still there on some Sarah Connor shit with a shotgun, just, like, candles lit. Remind you this thing doesn't like the light. So she kind of tells Sadie, like, you know, this is not safe. You know, good thing you didn't see it. Kind of explain everything to her. Sadie actually finds this old journal that Lester left, and it explains things. She kind of does this little scribbling thing on the page, and she sees this thing that her sister's been telling her she's been seeing, and she hears this tape recording that Harper had of Lester, and she starts to put everything together, and she's like basically going through a lot. She just lost her mom. She's going through things in the basement, finding old memories of her mom, and she's just does this little one shit saying, like she's seen on YouTube, like, Mom, if you're here, can you blow the flame to the left? She has a lighter that her mom used. They kind of foreshadow that that's the lighter that they're going to kill the boogeyman with in the end. So I kind of figured that was going to happen. But, man, it's this intense scene where they take Sawyer to this fucking other therapist because they're like, man, she's going crazy. We don't know what the hell's going on. And her name is Dr. Weller. And they do this, like, crazy ass shit, which is, traumatizing for a kid Sawyer's age. And it's like black and red, and these lights are going black, red, like dark red, and it's like flashing. We already know what type of scene this fucking is. You're building it up, and yeah, she kind of, the lights are flashing, and we see the boogeyman in the fucking corner, like, it's, and she just goes crazy. At a time, Dr. Weller looked fucking creepy. You know what I'm saying? She looked creepy and everything, but I really did love Sadie and Sawyer as a fucking duo. Like, they felt like sisters, you know. Sophia did a great job as Sadie. I'm like, holy shit, I really like these characters. I want to see them in more movies. The way they were bouncing off energy, and the way I liked Sawyer being smart too, man. It was a scene I liked where, you know, basically the boogeyman leads the father and Sawyer into the house, but Sadie's far away. She tries to call him and warn him, but Sawyer, she gets in the house. Sawyer has fucking Christmas lights wrapped around. They're like, fuck this, I'm out, you know. And you know, Sadie's trying to push through and get out this little shell of her just being depressed with her mom and shit. So she invites friends over to her house with the boogeyman already huddling over the house. And she does some crazy shit. I guess remember I told you she looks through her mom's things, and she finds like this little, you know, case where her mom, I guess, used to blow joints. Her mom used to, you know, get stoned and shit. So they smoke like a 20-year-old joint. Her and her friends smoke like a fucking 20-year-old age joint. And they're like, oh, you gotta break your cherry and, you know, hit the joint in honor of your mom. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the joint in honor of my mom. Shit is crazy. She takes one puff and goes fucking crazy. And it's like, man, it kind of leads from another scene that happened where Sawyer actually has a loose tooth in her fucking mouth. And Sadie ties a string to her tooth and slams. She's trying to do that trick where you put the fucking string on the knob. She's about to slam the door. She's like, okay, we're going to do it on 3. Whole time it didn't make it to 3 because the boogeyman slammed the fucking door and snatched the tooth out the mouth and everything. You just love this movie right here. It's a good movie, man. I really do enjoy it. The ending, the way it ended was kind of predictable, but it wasn't. You know, the ending wasn't too predictable, but it was out them foreshadowing the lighter. But yeah, it was crazy. I loved how they stuck together, Sawyer and Sadie, and I loved how the dad ended up coming around, you know, towards the end. But one scene I want to talk about before we kind of wrap up, man, it's this scene where Sawyer is playing PlayStation. I like that. She's like playing a PlayStation, a little younger girl playing PlayStation, while the teens are upstairs having a little sleepover. And she's playing, the teens leave because Sadie starts tripping out off the joint. She starts tripping out, and she actually coughs up the fucking tooth that her sister got pulled out because the boogeyman actually pulled the tooth into the wall where he's living in the darkness, and I guess he makes it come out of fucking Sadie's mouth, which was crazy. But they're leaving, and everything. So Sawyer's downstairs by herself, and this scene is very creepy. She's like playing a video game, and she's using the light on the TV to keep the room lit. She's like doing the same move, like a repetitive move, which is super cool. But she push forward. We end up, the boogeyman comes out the darkness, grabs Sawyer, this younger girl, in the fucking air and launches her to the fucking TV. I was not expecting that. He launched her to the fucking TV. And she like busts through the TV. She's in the hospital, and we kind of lead up to the final act. And like once I told you, the foreshadow with the lighter, you know, the ending was kind of cool how they took him out with the lighter, and I loved how Sawyer had the courage to help her sister. They stuck together and everything. But pretty much overall, I like the film. I'll give it a solid 8.5 or 9 out of 10. B, you know, like a B plus. If I had to grade it, it's a good film, man. It's a good film. I enjoy it. It's definitely gonna have a lot of good rewatch value later for me. It's good. I really enjoy the scenes, the tense, the suspense moments. I love the slow burn that leads to the big moment. The story was great, very solid and fluid. The characters I loved, like I said, Sadie and Sawyer, they did such a great job carrying this movie, man. And yeah, I like it. I definitely would like to watch this again. They kind of tease at the end that it can possibly be a sequel, which, I mean, I'll check out the sequel. It was decent, bro. I liked it. It was a solid film. So yeah, you guys, I definitely recommend you check out the Boogeyman. It was definitely a cool film. But yeah, you guys, unfortunately, this is the end of the video. Comment down below if you've seen the Boogeyman. What are your thoughts? I want you guys to hit me up on my social medias. I like Scary on Instagram, I like Scary _ on TikTok, Brandon on Facebook, I like Scary on Twitter. And yeah, you guys, right there where to subscribe. Next to a click, join, become a member of the channel. And I want you guys to watch some horror movies. Stay scary out there. I love you all. Peace.